Leviathan is a creature that is mentioned several times in the Old Testament in books like Isaiah, Job, and Amos, and is described as being a giant serpent that exists beneath the waters. How giant, you ask? Well, in certain Judaism beliefs, it is said to be about 300 miles long, so that should give you a good idea. Now, in the book of Revelations, which Revelations itself is a prophecy of what happens at the end of times, but that's a whole other animal to get into. It talks about Leviathan returning and being killed by an angel known as Michael. However, in that book of Revelations, it talks about Leviathan as being the vessel of Satan. So let's connect some dots here. We have the Leviathan and Satan as the same thing at the end of the Bible. In the middle of the Bible, we have the Leviathan being described as a great serpent. And then if you're familiar with the beginning of the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, it says that Satan came to Eve as a serpent and got her to commit the first sin, leading many to believe that perhaps Leviathan, this giant, potentially 300-mile long serpent, is the serpent that caused the first sin and therefore the downfall of humanity. Which I think it's really wild to think about. Like, what if instead of like a little garden snake that everyone thinks of, this thing was like just huge. Leviathan is also adapted into several different cultures. It's believed to be the basis for the idea of dragons from Eastern culture and principles of Ouroboros, or the infinite loop of a cycle of the snake eating itself. So if the idea of the first sin that was ever done, which caused the downfall of humanity, that was potentially created by a 300-mile long super snake, isn't cool to you, I don't know what you're doing on this channel.